Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this was likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up, the Bills! It's not outside! It's not outside! Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Homie, now listen. Everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we trippin'. They better get out our way. Top of the table, we flippin'. We on a mission. Got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo.
Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast, Whittle 2K. Waiting on my buddy Beyond 716 to pop up. He's running a little bit late. He's running a little late today. Maybe it's the LA traffic. Maybe that got him. I don't know. But we are not a full week, but a few days after the draft, and I know we had talked about hoping for a quiet off season, and you know what? The Bills just won't allow that. First and foremost, we're going to get right into the draft. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're also going to talk about Brandon Beane. We're going to talk about some news that took place. So Brandon Beane, as all of you guys know already, probably at this point, have seen the video, heard the audio of Brandon Beane really taking the morning show hosts, Jeremy and Joe on WGR, really taking those guys to task because they're extremely. This is my opinion. And this is my opinion, and this is my assessment of what happened. So they have been the more vocal media personnel or media personalities that cover the Buffalo Bills that have been clamoring over and over and over for a for a wide receiver. For wide receiver help. It all started after Stephon Diggs got traded and they drafted Keon Coleman. That's not the guy everybody wanted. These guys wanted the speed of Xavier Worthy instead of, the size and athletic ability and physicality of a Keon Coleman. So the Bills struggled a little bit last year, as we all know, with a couple of the best defenses in the NFL. The wide receivers had a difficult time separating. The offense looked a bit stagnant against the Ravens and the Texans. So Bean goes out, trades for Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper really doesn't work out great, but the offense does kick back into high gear. So Fast forward to the offseason. Obviously, the Bills lose the AFC Championship yet again to the Kansas City Chiefs again. And, there's similar questions about how does this team improve to finally get over the hump. And look who showed up today.
Lit,
Welcome.
little bit late. Sorry, Whittle. Had
That's all
to
right, brother. That's all right, man.
was
You good?
driving.
Everything straight?
Yeah, everything's good. I just had to get to Orlando a little earlier for business. So
Oh, that's right. You
Orlando
are on
now.
this side now. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Orlando, Disney
Forgot about that.
World, and I'm on your side now. We're in the same
Yeah.
time zone, and no more 6 p.m. starts for a while. So, how you doing? How's
So,
everyone going?
so far, so good, man. I'm just recapping the whole Brandon Bean WGR thing.
Nice,
Um,
nice. Yes.
yeah, so you jumped kind of right in there, and I'm not going to take too long on it because I want to get our special
Hmm.
guest on tonight.
Great.
Um, another coach. We like to talk ball here. We brought another coach on here,
Absolutely.
and he'll tell you all about himself when he gets up here. But
Great.
so the Brandon Bean thing, Brandon gets on. So WGR, they've been Jeremy and Joe. They had a wide receiver draft board and all these different things that the wide receivers that they wanted. Um, every free agent that was available, whether it was wide receiver or pass rusher or whatever, they were on it. They were like, "Oh, we need to go get this guy. We need to go get this guy. We need to go get this guy." Okay, fine.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we get to the draft. Um, we do not take a receiver until round 7. I think our last draft selection. Yeah,
Yep.
our last draft selection was the receiver.
Hmm.
So Brandon Bean goes on to the Jeremy and Joe morning show a couple days ago. I want to say this was Monday. I think it was Monday. And he's waiting backstage. Like if you ever call into a radio, you see you gotta wait and then they bring you up. And so he's waiting and listening, and they mention some things about wide receivers or whatever. And
Yep.
Brandon Bean gets on there, they let him on, and Brandon Bean's like, yo, I'm basically saying, I can't believe you guys are still bitching about wide receivers. We scored the most points last year. We have a lot of those guys back, and you're still complaining. They took offense to it. I mean, there was some other colorful language. Again, you've heard the audio. You don't need
Hmm.
me to play it. So you heard the audio, and uh, they've been on this victim tour. They've been on this victim tour ever since. Acting, and then there
Hmm.
are people that chat in and they say, "Oh, you guys handled it so perfectly, and you guys were so professional." And Brandon Bean was out of character. Couple things. Number one, you don't know Brandon Bean personally. You don't know Brandon Bean personally. I don't know what he's like when the cameras go off. I don't know his actual character's like because it's not my man. I don't spend quality time with him.
Yeah. Hmm.
But what I will tell you though, yeah, spicy bean, exactly. Yes. What I
Yeah.
will say about Brandon Bean is I appreciate the pettiness. I appreciate the clapback.
Hmm.
And you know what? This is my stance. And then after this, if you want to chime in, beyond sure, and then we'll bring our guest up. Um,
Absolutely.
you can understand why the average fan wants to get wide receivers early, top flight wide receivers. I get it because we have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We haven't won a Super Bowl, and if you ever turn on television to watch football, you're watching the highlights, things like that. Who do you see? Jamar Chase. You
Yep.
see T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. You see, you used to see Tyreek Hill, and now you
Hmm.
see Xavier Worthy and Patrick Mahomes, and then you see Jalen Hurts, and you see AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, and you see all of these guys. And it's like, wow, we don't have any of these guys. We don't have anybody of that caliber. Yet we scored more than all of those guys. So get it. I got it. The casual fan or the average fan um, is not paying attention to the game that closely. I understand that. I don't expect the average fan to know the Bills were number 2 in the regular season in point score per game. I don't expect that. I also don't expect them to know that the Bills were 28th or 29th, excuse me, in um, third down conversion defense. I mean, third down conversions allowed on defense. We were 29th out of 32 teams. We were 28th in completion percentage against. We were 20th in QBR allowed. So if we're having all of these issues defensively, we don't expect the average fan to know that because all they know is we got to the AFC Championship game and we didn't score on the last drive. So I get that. Me personally, I do the research, I follow up, I do all of that other stuff or whatever. So I'm a bit more knowledgeable than the average fan who doesn't do that.
That's right.
I want it to come down to the last drive. I want our defense to get stops so that it doesn't get to that point. I want Josh Allen in a ball cap in the last drive because we're up 2 scores. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs are the Chiefs were a top 3 defense in the NFL last year. We put up 29 points on them. Can we get stops? We played Kansas City Chiefs. We played the Kansas City Chiefs 4 times in the playoffs. We have 9 total defensive stops, and 3 of those defensive stops were fumbles. We forced 6 punts in 4 complete playoff games against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm.
You don't fix that problem by taking a wide receiver at 30.
Yep.
Drafting a linebacker that's going to sit behind Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard. You go out and do exactly what these guys did, what Brandon Beane did. You draft the fastest corner in the corner in the class. You go out and you draft a corner that's excellent. That's excellent with his while facing the quarterback. He's a press man. He's a press guy. He's physical. He can come down and tackle. You draft the physical corner that you can put, in the slot a little bit bigger than what we have, in Cam Lewis and some other guys. You give this team options because every year we lose, and when we lose, we always hear this McDermott 111, 111, 111. Well, guess what? If you're 11 out of your 11 are missing 6 guys or 4 guys, obviously that your 11 is not as strong. If you're lesser talent that couldn't crack the original 11, now you're missing them. And you're trying to go. You're gonna get a different product. I don't want to bring it back to the 99-cent store spaghetti and Whole Foods spaghetti, but you get the picture.
I do.
You want more talent. So in case you need to supplement a member of your one of your 111s, you do it with a much more talented piece versus a 7th round guy, right?
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
I'll make this pretty quick, but I'm trying to understand that after the AFC Championship game, we talked about playmakers on defense over and over again, and almost all of Bills Mafia was kind of echoing those thoughts. In a draft where wide receivers were down, I mean, obviously, maybe it's recency bias. Last year's crop of wide receivers was amazing, right? We were all talking about how we wanted to get Neighbors and we wanted to trade up to get Radunze and things like that, right? Maybe that's part of it. Some fans are still, they're sort of like building your franchise in Madden 25. You go get 3 or 4 number 1 wide receivers, for your franchise. But that's just not reality, Whittle. You and I both know this. You have to build your wide receiver to have very specific roles. And if you look at the 5 that we have, right, they all have specific roles and we have tremendous depth, right? But I want to know where along the line we lost that absolute need for defense and wide receivers suddenly became the soup of the day, right? Where did that become? Like I wasn't even really thinking about wide receiver in the first round. Like I mean, maybe second, third round. Okay, maybe Jalen Royals was a guy we wanted, or some other guys, right, that we talked about here on the podcast. But I just thought the needs that the Bills needed, they attempted to address in spades. Now, whether they're perfect picks, whether we're perfectly happy with all of their let's just start with the top 5 guys that we took, right? Are we if
Mhm.
there may be some disagreements and things in terms of who we traded for, I mean, who we picked, what we traded to get those players. But at the end of the day, Brandon Bean addressed that in spades. They went for it. They took their home run shot, and that's all I can ask for. It's obvious what this team's needed really since 2021. We have the offense, and I would rather have the 5 guys we have now. I mean, who are you going to key on, right? Go ahead and double team one of our guys. We got plenty of options. I mean, are we forgetting that Josh Palmer came over from the Chargers, and in the 1 year he started 11 games, he caught almost 70 passes, 72 receptions. Elijah Morris played with who in Cleveland and who in Florham Park with the Jets, throwing him the
But we
football.
didn't even get to that yet.
Right, we will, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying, like, they're going to Josh Allen. We have, in my mind, at least 3 or 4 receivers that could have 70 plus catches, or even we have so many options on this team. Why are we so obsessed with having that number 1 guy? It just we've seen other teams do it without it. I'm perfectly comfortable with what we have a wide receiver, and I'm so thrilled about what Bean did in the trenches. As we all know, that's where it starts. You have to attempt it, and that's all we wanted from this draft. But that's my number 1 thought. I loved Bean. Whittle, one last thing I'll leave you with. I love emotion in sports, right? Don't we all? Like you said, a lot of these guys, you made a great point. We don't know these guys behind the scenes, right? You know why I love the
Right.
moment? You know why I always love the moment Richard Sherman at the end of that title game? Remember with Crabtree? Remember him and Crabtree had that thing going on? And remember that
Mhm.
interview I went with, what was her name? Who's the woman on the sidelines, the blonde, who's always, I can't think of her name. Rachel, not
Right.
Rachel Nichols, but Erica, I forget her name, but it was right after the game, and Richard Sherman just gave you that raw moment. I'm the best, corner in the NFL, and he's going out, but that raw emotion, we love it, right? This was a time
Right.
when we got a GM giving you a little bit of a raw emotion, right? He probably hasn't slept much in the last 3 weeks, right? He's probably, and he gets on the show and he defended himself, and I love it. So I want my GM to care that much to do that. And he backed it up with the facts, and he backed it up with his reasoning. And I have no problem with what he did.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, because we're getting ready to get into this draft talk, we'll
Yes.
talk about Elijah Moore. If you guys don't know or haven't seen it yet, the Buffalo Bills came to an agreement with wide receiver Elijah Moore, 25 years old. He's going into his 5th year, I want to say, 5th
I
year
think
into
it's
the
his 5th. Yeah.
NFL. Signed to a
Mm-hmm.
1 year deal, about $5 million. He spent his first 2 years with the Jets, the last 2 years with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm stuck on the NBA right now. Cleveland Browns. Um,
As you
Second
should
round
be.
selection out of
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss. I've been clamoring for an Ole Miss receiver. We got one. It's not the one that I thought, but nevertheless, we got him. But without further ado, I want to bring on our special guest today, Coach Oliver. He is a offensive line coach, former offensive lineman as well. I'll let him,
Awesome.
kind of share his story. What's up, Coach?
What's going on? Y'all can hear
Hey,
me?
Coach.
Uh,
Yes, we
yeah,
can.
we got
You're
you.
loud and clear. Thanks, Coach. How you
No,
doing?
it's no problem. Oh, I'm doing well, man. I can't complain.
All right, Coach. We spoke briefly the other day about. Well, before we get into that, if you
Mhm.
want to take a couple minutes or a couple seconds or whatever to introduce yourself, talk to the people about who you are. Um, what's your specialty in coaching? A little briefly your playing history, things like
Right.
that. Floor is yours.
Yeah. I'm an offensive line coach here in Louisiana, Pineville, Louisiana. Uh, I won't get into many of the details. If you do your research, you do your research. Obviously, if you see the
Yeah.
last name, but like I said, man, I'm a former offensive lineman. Played at University of Houston. And, just I like talking ball, man. I remember just coming across you in a space, and and y'all, opening up with open arms and said whenever you got time, like get on for a quick second. You said go ahead, stop by. So I said, man, let me go ahead, stop by today. Give some thoughts of what I think is going on this year, and I'm actually excited for this year, man. It's kind of funny, like he's now the vet in the room, so it's like it's different now. Like he was a young buck, now he's he's probably one of the longest tenures on the team as we speak. So just enjoying the process of him going through this and me getting to watch and on every Sunday or Monday or whatever day they play on and have fun doing it and understand that, man, you gotta cherish these moments because at some time we'll end and we just enjoying this ride.
Yeah, let him know that he's now reached Unk status of his playing career now.
Yeah.
So now he's Unk. He's
Yeah,
Unk
he
now in the
young,
room.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, he has earned the right to be called that.
Absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely. So we've been doing this podcast for a while now, Coach, and one of the things that we spoke about
Mm-hmm.
consistently was
Mm-hmm.
getting bigger
Mm-hmm.
on the defensive line, and not
Right,
just for not just for the purposes of being better at defending the run on a down to down basis, but
right,
um, the Bills want to stay in this 4-2-5. They want to stay in this nickel,
right.
and I think when you have a penetrating, disruptive force like
Mm-hmm.
91
Mm-hmm.
on the defensive line, who can really at any point wreck a game,
Right,
you want to put somebody next to him
right.
that basically can have his back. I don't want to try to get into the minutia of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
a ton of jargon and football terms and things
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
but I got a guy that's a fire starter. I need his backup. Like
right,
the wingman's got to be big. So
right.
putting the two gap in next to Ed, I think gives Ed a real opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to play a bit more free. And I think Ed already has the green light to kind of just go in and just kind of just muck things up with his ability to penetrate, beat
Right.
double teams,
Mm-hmm.
and just be who he was drafted to be.
Right.
I think now when you add a two gapping or just a bigger guy,
Mm-hmm.
it deters the team, the offensive line in front of him
Mm-hmm.
to double team Ed.
Mm-hmm.
This could give Ed having a guy like T.J. Sanders who is a little, he's a little taller, a little longer than Ed, but
Right.
of a similar play style.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to give any of these guys one on ones. Then
Right.
you add in a Deion Walker,
Mm-hmm.
6 foot, 6'6", 6'7",
Mm-hmm.
330, 340 pounds. You really can't one on one block him because he's just going to drive his man deep into the pocket and not give the quarterback any place or the running back a place to go. That I think this was a move. This draft class is a move to maximize not only get younger, obviously, and when you're paying a quarterback, you're paying defensive tackle, defensive ends, this young core. You want to also get cheaper and have some cost control contracts for the next few years. You also want to maximize the ability of the guys that you've invested in. We want Ed to be the best that we want the best version of Ed every week. Let's give him some support so that we can get that. So Ed doesn't have to play 98% of the snaps. He can play, 80% of the snaps and still, be fresh and take care of his body. And we don't have to worry. We is less likely to get these nagging injuries that make him less effective or take him off the field completely. Same thing with Rousseau. Rousseau's a really good player, really good at stopping the run, setting the edge, strong, long, difficult to throw over, difficult to get around, difficult to keep him out of the play. So let's put another guy on the other side, similar to that in a Landon Jackson. Let's give them some support by putting these pass rushers in the middle that will force the quarterback into the arms of these defensive ends. So Rousseau has a more of an opportunity to convert some of those hurries and pressures into actual sacks. And who love sacks? Because sacks are negative plays. They you not only lose it down, but you lose a ton of yards. It's more likely that you're going to get a turnover, which then get your offense the ball back. And um, it just like it does something to the offense when you go from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 17, and your quarterback's getting thrown on the ground. That's the lifeblood of the offense. You get the quarterback on the ground, you're demoralizing that offensive line. You're demoralizing those pass protectors. You're really eliminating a good amount of the playbook, the offensive playbook, because you're not you're not running no power sweep on 2nd and 17. That's a play call that you're not really trying to call right there. So you limit a lot of things the offense can do when you get those type of negative plays. But beyond,
Yes.
what when you saw the way the draft went, what were your thoughts? Like, what was on your mind? Like, what were you thinking as the draft was going on?
Well, I mean, obviously, we needed some help on our defensive line in a lot of respects. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the one tech, right? Getting Ed Oliver that support that he needs, right? And we came up with that in spades, in my opinion. Now, Sanders, I believe, he could be TJ Sanders could be a 3 tech and a 1 tech. Is that about fair to say, Whittle? Would you say? I mean, that's one of my first thoughts on that pick. I feel like he sort of interchangeable in that sense in certain
Yeah.
downs. I think he'd be.
I
I feel
wouldn't
like he.
say I don't I wouldn't say he's interchangeable. Like I don't think he could be in every down one
Yeah.
tech. I don't think he can be
Yes.
an every down two gap guy. But I do believe that on passing downs, for sure. Yeah, I can throw if you can throw Ed and TJ in there at the same time,
Hmm.
and God bless the quarterback, because
Yeah. Yep.
somebody's getting home.
Yep. And
You
then
mind if I,
Deion Walker. Oh, go ahead, Coach. Yes, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that too, on the
because
Sanders pick.
I got a little bit more time that I got to get back to doing what I got to do with my coaching staff and all that.
You
But
you got it.
I'll say this. I'll be real quick. I think um like this draft was about adding depth, and depth is luxury, right? I think our starting whoever starts this year, however that goes, and first and foremost, I think Daquan Jones is a real solid player. I think he has been. I think injuries have played a toll on him too,
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I think he's done, a great job when he's in there. And sometimes, like, what we got to understand is you're not going to win every play, but the ones you do win, just make them count, right? So we gotta understand as fans, right, and as people that watch the games, like you're not gonna win every rep, but when you do win the reps, make sure it's a big impact. And we had that at times, right? I mean, we're not gonna
Mhm.
shy away from it. I mean, and at the end of the day, but we always didn't have the luxury of having depth, right? So with that being said, we don't even bring up Bosa, right? We got Bosa, and he
Yeah.
doesn't have a lot of load on him because we bring in Atlanta Jackson, right? And then we still got AJ Epinesa. Then we still
Mhm.
like it's depth, it's depth, it's depth. Like if one thing I learned from this year in this draft is that they emphasized on that. You bring back a T. White, you bring back a Dane Jackson, right? And then you go draft a corner. And then at the end, you draft two more corners.
Yep.
It's like, okay, let's all compete, right? Because competition brings out the best in everybody. That's facts. Let's all compete, but know what we're competing towards. I think that alone, with adding another offensive lineman, in that group, with adding another tight end in that group. It just makes the team complete. Where I'm not trying to, search and make a trade or do this. No,
Right.
that's this guy. Like even I think Dwayne Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Man, before his injury, that Texans game, he played like one of the best games I've seen from a D tackle, right? Let alone, and he's impactful. And we don't even break up him because we're caught. We got so much depth now. It's like, okay, how do we piece this all together? That's the beauty of it, that we get to piece it all together. And when I say we, I'm talking about Brandon Bean, Coach McDermott, all those guys. They get to figure that out. Now we just have to go. We just have to peel back and watch and be like, man, we really got depth now. Like we really truly can go into the season and say, oh, okay, it might go this week where we might see this player plays and he has his impact. But now it's like we're throwing the kitchen sink at people now. Like, okay, it's gonna be a whole new group. And it's like, how can I say this? It's traits, right? We all look for traits. It's like, okay, we all know who Ed is, we know who Daquan is, we know who AJ, because we've seen those guys. But then when you look white and you bring those young guys in, you get a 6'7" Deion Walker, and then you get another guy like TJ, and then you get Bosa, and then you get other guys. Just it's like, okay, that's how you supposed to win. And that, in my opinion, that's how you win football games, in the trenches. Our O-line is elite. I think now our D-line is going to be elite. And I think we can really piece it together to where now it's like, all right, okay, like I got a first unit, I got a second unit, and I probably got two more guys that can come in and do the same thing these other guys can do in a plethora of ways. So what are you going to do? Because we're going to dictate what we can do. And we can do it in multiple fashions now. Like, we couldn't blitz last year. Correct? It just wasn't in our I guess packages or whatever, but that's not, like I said, I don't know. Again, I don't speak on that with Ed. I let Ed be Ed. I let him do his thing. I don't really ask for scheme and nothing like that. So wherever the case may be, right? Now I feel like we can do that. Okay, we get a bona fide corner, right, in the first round. And I love Rasheed Douglas, and Rasheed Douglas was great for us. Let's call a spade a spade. He was great, right? Caused turnovers, did everything for that defense. Okay, so they said, okay, let's get younger. All right, let's go get us a first round corner. That likes to gamble, right? But also I seen in a clip him strip sacking a quarterback on one of these clips. So that leads me to think, okay, he can go on boundary blitzes, right? And we got guys that can fill gaps like Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano. Like Matt Milano gets back into that form like we seen versus Baltimore, right? Where he's running down Lamar Jackson. It's like now, it's like, okay, if we can stay healthy, we can stay together. If we can piece it, even if we don't stay healthy, we still got Williams, the backup linebacker, I think he's one of the man. I can't wait to see his career take off. You know what I'm saying? I think he's still young and he's still learning and he's still growing. But I think he's gonna be one of those special players too, because he's just a fast and he hits like once he sees he goes. So like I said, I think this has been a build up for a while now, and I think we finally got the draft to where we can say, okay, let's do it. Let's put it all where we need to put it at. Where offense is doing well, right? 30 points a game. Okay, you add in a Palmer, all right, and then today you get Elijah Moore, right? So you get a 500-yard guy in Elijah, and I think what Palmer had last year. I'm not too sure.
Palmer was somewhere around there as well. I think Palmer was right around 500.
Right. Yeah. So you add in 1,000 yards of production to the group. All right. Keon stays healthy. Kincaid stays healthy. Knox has his like his year where he can get back to where he needs to be. I think he's been playing well as well. It's just now you just gotta let the coaches be the coaches. Put it like that. Let them figure it out. Of course, we all got questions. Shoot, I got questions. I'm like, man, how this gonna work out? But at the end of the day, I trust the Buffalo Bills. They haven't for the last, even if we had slow starts, fast starts, at the end of the day, we always is one play away. I'd rather be one play away than us looking like, golly, like, did we even show up today?
Right.
Yep.
I'd rather be one play away. If we constantly one play away and we constantly knock on the door, soon enough that door is gonna open. Now we can either kick down the door, like I feel like we can do this year, or if it eventually opens, then we kick them out and we go inside the door. So I think at the end of the day, I'm always, like I said, I'm a coach myself. I preach positivity. I think there's a lot of positive things going on in that building. And I think at the end of the day, you gotta let those guys make those decisions and let them form the best 53 we can have, and have some guys that's on practice squad that they can also rely on if something happens to come up and play in big time ball games. I think that's the beauty of the Buffalo Bills is they constantly figure it out. But now you ain't really got to figure it out because you know what you got. Now you really know what you got because you built depth. So that's all I got for like that part of it. Again, I'm excited for the season. I'm ready. I'm actually ready for the release. What is it? May 14th.
Schedule release.
May 14th.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what games I'm gonna go to, man. Because I'm like, man, this one got me on the edge. Because I'm like, I'm from Houston, so you got the Texans in Houston again. That's a revenge game in my book, right?
Yes,
We need to settle that score straight. It's like then we got some tough games at home. Who we got? I want to say Baltimore at home and the Bengals at home.
We got the defending Super Bowl champions too. We got the Eagles coming in.
Philly.
So we got
Philly's at home. Yep.
So we had to go trenches because guess what? All those teams are trenches.
Yeah.
We had to match it up. If we match it up, I think we can be all right. I think that's all what Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, all those coaches in that building say. We need to match it up, physical football, because we did it another way and it was great. The flash, it was great. But now let's get grimy. Let's get gritty. That's what Buffalo is, though. Buffalo is a gritty, grimy town full of blue collar, hardworking people, and so is that Buffalo Bills football team. And they're gonna give you everything you got every Sunday. So again, I think they're on the right track, and hopefully, like I said, prayers that everybody stays healthy and they can go out there and show, okay, the city of Buffalo, like, hey, we've been working and we've been trying to put this thing together so we can finally get through that door and play at that last game of the season. So that's all I got about it. I mean, again, Coach Oliver, offensive line coach at Pineville High School in Pineville, Louisiana. Hopefully we have our comeback season this year. And hopefully, like I said, my brother and everybody on their defensive line, offensive line, quarterbacks, everybody stays healthy. So those guys, I know how hungry they are for a Super Bowl. You can see it in their faces after every time we come up short. Hopefully them guys get to that Super Bowl and win it.
All right, Coach. I appreciate you, brother. Now listen, put a couple things out there. Now whether you pass this information out or you don't, it's up to you. Whatever the line is for Ed Sacks this year, I'm betting over. I'm betting the Bills in the Super Bowl. I'm going to bet Rousseau Sacks over. And yeah, I think that's it right now. I'm probably going to take Keon for over receiving yards. Now, if they hear this information, cool. I don't know if they will or not, but hey, if they do, awesome. Don't let me down, guys. I'm putting the bread on y'all. All right. So that was Coach Oliver.
That was great.
Yeah. And basically what he said, like this is what the The Chiefs have lost 3 times in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs over the last 5 years. Should have been 4. They should have lost to the Bengals twice, but they lost 4.
Mm-hmm.
They lost 3 times. They lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And what did the Buccaneers have on that defensive line? They had Vita. They had Sue. They had JPJ. They had, I want to say Tryon was there as well. Basically, they had a big a rotation of defensive linemen who were able to win up front.
Mm-hmm.
Behind them, they had, their standout linebackers. They had the secondary the secondary was able to cover. The coverage matched the pass rush. On the next time they lost to the Bengals. What did the Bengals have? The defense. DJ Reader, BJ Hill, a bunch of guys, Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard. They had studs up front. They had a defensive line. Then you got, Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt. You got you had a Woozier, you had was it Britt? I think that was Cam Taylor Britt's rookie year. Or
Yeah.
it might have been it was Britt's.
I think it was.
No. This was the year before CTB got drafted. This was the year before he got
Oh,
drafted. So, but they had Mike Hill, and then the safety Von Bell and old boy Jesse Bates is playing out there
Jesse Bates in Atlanta, right? He's in Atlanta.
in Atlanta. And that defense was smothering teams, man. That defense didn't give up. I think they gave up around 16 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs lost to that team. Then the last time they lost, which was the Super Bowl, they played the Eagles 2 years ago. Beat them. But
Mm-hmm.
this year, the Eagles had the defense. They had the pass rush. They had, Brandon Graham. They had Sweat. They had Milton Williams. Obviously, Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter. Just
No. Yeah.
guys on top of guys on top of guys that they could throw at the Chiefs' offensive line. And they were able to get. And it's not just the pass rush, but it's also the coverage behind the pass rush. You get a
Mm-hmm.
Quinyon Marshall. You get a Cooper DeJean. You have who was the corner? Darius Slay. You got
Quinion Mitchell. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Just a bunch of guys that are talented, good players.
Oh yeah.
Reed Blankenship. N'Kobe Dean, even though he got hurt, you had a Zach Braun who had an All Pro season.
Mm-hmm.
The defense was the reason that these teams were able to get past the Chiefs, get to a Super Bowl. Yes, they could score points. We can score points. Can we stop anybody though? We got 9 stops total in four games against the Chiefs.
It's unacceptable.
The Eagles got 9 stops against the Chiefs in this past Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm loving what we got going on right now defensively, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the season, just like Coach Oliver said.
It's funny because Coach Oliver got me thinking about something, Whittle. I've been a fan of this team since '82, long time. Yeah, I'm dating myself, but we may have had at certain times better. If you look at the top 5 players on our roster, right? The Kelly Thurman, Bruce era, we had super elite players at the top. Reed as well. You're talking 4 Hall of Famers there, right? So that team had more Hall of Famers than this current Bills team. But Whittle, I got to tell you, I don't think there has ever, since I've been a fan, a deeper team than what we could see with the 2025 Buffalo Bills. What's kind of crazy is the least depth that we have is at our best position at quarterback. right? If you look at the rest of the roster, please, Will, tell me where we don't have depth.
Kicker?
Okay, kicker. Yeah, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, I mean, it's just the just think about, like you said, the fact that there's a little less pressure on Ed now, right? He's going to have more support. Maybe he can maybe not take as many snaps, and how it's going to free things up for our linebackers and what they could do, and even our corners, right? And you mentioned we're going to get into the corners that we drafted. Can they hold the coverage better now, right? To complement our better pass rush and things like that. Like, I cannot remember a deeper team, top to bottom, than what we have right now in all the years I've rooted for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, one thing I do like about the guys that we did draft, and we'll go by position groups.
Mm-hmm.
I like the corners. I thought that not just the skill set or the athletic traits, but the mentality as well.
Yeah.
Maxwell Hairston, you know, team very very like outgoing, team first type of guy. They
Mm-hmm.
talked about how he was in the in the back of in the waiting area
That's
at
great.
the draft, and just like everybody who
Mm-hmm.
got drafted ahead of him, he's like shaking their hand, giving them positive reinforcement, etc. Very happy for them. And to hear his name called, he waits till basically the end of the round, but to get drafted at 30, and that's huge because you want to see guys like that get rewarded. But
Mm-hmm.
on top of it, when you actually when you turn on the film and watch the guy play, he's very competitive, very competitive. Has elite recovery speed. He ran a 4.28. Not the biggest guy, not the greatest tackler.
Mm-hmm.
There's some there's some pretty ugly reps when it comes to his ability to tackle in space. But at the same time, he has forced some fumbles. He does come up and get involved, so he is willing. Um, and if some of you guys remember, we drafted Kyrie. He wasn't great at it either, but we managed to the coaching staff, like Coach Oliver said, let the coaches be the coaches now. This is what they do. This is what they get paid for. You got the
Mm-hmm.
talent. Go in there and cultivate it. Turn these, these charcoal pieces into diamonds, man. I love what when you watch a guy like Maxwell Harrison,
Yeah.
go after the football in pass coverage. Um, a guy like Dorian Strong who is not afraid to get physical and come up and break the ball up and really has great zone eyes. And then a Jordan Hancock who, I mean, he plays like a box safety
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and he has the speed. Um, he has the speed to kind of stick with guys as well. I want to pull his rags up. He ran a 4.45, which is pretty solid. Like that's a pretty good grade. But you're talking about a 6'1", 195-pound corner that's going to play the slot. Oh, with a 41.5-inch vertical and a 10 feet 6-inch broad jump. Like that's what you want. 30 and 3/4 arm length. When you put this guy in the slot, man, he's going to come down and tackle against the run. That vertical is going to make him a really, really dangerous guy to throw at. So even if you
Mm-hmm.
try to layer it over top of him, he's got the athletic ability to go up and get the football. So quarterbacks are going to have to be perfect. And what you want are guys in that back end that force the quarterbacks to hold that ball for an extra split second, extra second. Maybe I'm not going to take this chance of throwing it here. I'll run instead, or I'll try to buy myself some time. What does that do? It gives your front guys, let's get the front line, the opportunity to come up, make a big play, strip sacks, huge losses on plays, putting the offense in a really tough predicament. So I really, really, really like the cornerback selections. We were, when we picked up Dorian Strong, the guy who went right ahead of him was Zy
Mhm.
Frazier from UTSA. So
Mm.
um, that was one of my guys. But I liked Dorian as well in the draft process. And listen, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see these guys get going. Now,
Yep.
up front, the defensive line is where we really made. I think we made the biggest impact.
Mhm.
They were in on Tyleek Williams. Tyleek said that when he, after he got drafted, that if he would have got past Detroit, the next place would have been 29 with the Commanders. They don't need a defensive tackle, so we would have probably
Mhm.
got him. But everything happens for a reason. We got Maxwell, man. We got Mad Max, and after that, traded up to get TJ Sanders, really explosive, 3 tech, 6'3", I want to say. Hold on.
Mhm.
Let's make sure I pull it up. So I got them all up here. Yeah, 6'3",
Mhm.
and yeah, get that dog out of him, bro.
Get that
Two
dog
ninety
out of him,
seven,
dog. Yep.
right? Now he's 297, but I think that's probably like the slim down weight for the combine. Ran a
Mhm.
4.95. 33 and nearly a quarter arm length, 31 and a
Mhm.
half inch vertical, 9 foot broad jump. Oh, solid shuttle, solid 3 cone. I mean, he's an athlete. And then when you go watch him play, you see the guy is violent. Uh, he actually plays a lot like Ed Allen. So
Mhm.
it's going to be interesting to see him and Ed together on the field. That's going to be fun. And
Mhm.
then um, one of the most telegraphed picks, I think, of the century. Everybody on earth knew the Buffalo Bills were going to draft Landon Jackson.
Mhm.
Everybody knew it. And, you know, Landon Jackson might be my favorite pick out of the draft. And I was not a Landon Jackson guy. Not at all. I was like, I don't know.
Mm.
He's a
Yeah.
little, looks a little weak on the edge. I don't know how good he's gonna be at setting the edge and blah blah blah. Blah. And then this guy goes to the combine and absolutely destroys the combine, bro. 6'6". He's at 264, but I think his playing weight is more like 275, 280.
Mhm.
40 and a half inch vertical. 10 feet 9 inch broad jump. Ran a 4.68 40. 3 cone is 7 and some change. The shuttle wasn't great, but whatever.
Mhm.
We basically went out and got another group for the other side. So now you have these young guys, and then what's already here? Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, Javon Solomon, Joey Bosa, who was signed, in the offseason. Michael Hoyt, who's serving a 6-game suspension. He's signed in the offseason as well. That's 5 guys. Now you add one more to Landon Jackson. What about a defensive tackle? Who we got? Ed Allen. We got to, and I don't know why we don't have a nickname for Ed yet, but
Yeah, we
we got
do
to
need
figure
a.
something out.
He doesn't have a nickname yet.
I don't know.
I'm surprised. I thought for some
I,
reason we did have a nickname for Ed Oliver. If
I don't
anybody out there
know.
knows, please
Yeah,
for Ed Oliver know.
he needs a nickname, man. All right, we
Yeah.
got Ed, we got Daquan Jones, Dwayne Carter, but now you're adding in T.J. Sanders. Oh, and also Larry Ogunjobi. He's on the suspension as well. Um, And then you added 6'7", 330 pound defensive tackle from University of Kentucky, a young man by the name of Deion Walker. I personally want to take my victory lap in manifesting this pick to the Buffalo Bills because
Yup.
I have been saying the Bills need to draft Deion Walker since
Hmm.
like September of last year,
You
and
have,
to
yes.
now to now have him. I've been watching the uniform store. No Deion Walker jersey yet, but
Yeah.
when it drops, I'm getting it.
When we picked him, I was watching with my stepdad, right? And kind of quiet. I just get up and go, yeah. I got more excited about that pick than probably because like I couldn't believe after all we talked to, especially you, about Dion Walker. And not only did we get him, Whittle, got him in the fourth round. I mean, how great is that?
Two
I mean,
years from now, people are going to be saying, How did this guy fall to the fourth round?
yeah,
Lord
yeah.
willing.
Hmm. Yes. Oh, by the way, I have an answer for you. I went on Wikipedia. Ed Oliver's has a nickname, Horse Whisperer,
I don't like it.
because of him standing on the back of a horse as a demonstration of his confidence. Because Ed is big into like the horses and like being a cowboy, right? So I'm not jiving with that name. I need something better for Ed, but I just wanted to put that out there to you that he actually does have a documented nickname. So
Yeah, we
yeah,
got to
what is
find
what is
something
not
else.
feeling that? Yeah, he's
I'm
not
not
feeling
feeling
that
that
one.
one.
No.
Listen, I got we got so Benford. I was calling Benford the soccer dad last year, but I
Mhm.
like Agent 47 a little bit better.
Yeah, I like the soccer dad though. It's very clever because you know why we're calling that, right?
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess we keep. All right, so then perfect. If we keep Benford as the soccer dad, then we got Trey White all day. Trey
All
Day,
night, right?
um,
Mad Max, right?
Mad Max, um, Deion Walker. We got to figure something out for TJ and Landon Jackson.
Yeah, we
Now,
gotta figure.
I don't know how Landon Jackson's going to feel about this, but we've been thinking about some nicknames,
The
and we
the
got
better
something planned.
the better LJ? Oh no no.
Nah, I don't
You
want
don't
to
wanna
disrespect
we
Larry
no you
Johnson.
no 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 no
I,
we're going after
I
Lamar.
don't want
No,
to
we're going after
disrespect Larry
Baltimore.
Johnson, man.
I
Oh
I'm just
no, no,
I'm trying
no,
I'm trying to troll the Raven
no.
fans, Whittle. That's all I'm
Yeah,
trying to do.
no.
It's a straight up troll.
Yeah, we're not doing that, bro. Yeah, we're not
No,
doing that,
it's
man.
actually not a good idea.
um, Deion Walker, Agent Zero, like he wears zero. I don't know what he's gonna wear in the NFL, but Harrison's gonna wear 31, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Deion though, we gotta find something for him. I mean,
He's
I
nicknamed
hope we
D1. D1 by his peers, by the way.
no. I don't like.
D1.
You know what? Let's put a poll up. Let's do something like that. We'll put a poll up and get some
Yeah.
nicknames
Yep.
for these guys, man. Um,
Where's
I
he
like
from? Yeah, let's take a look at his profile here.
I like Mad Max, bro.
Yeah, Mad Max is a great one.
Mhm. Damn, bro. But yeah, I'm excited about all of that. I'm excited about the draft. I'm excited to see uh how they figure this out because now this is a roster. Like this is an issue now because I think we have more guys than we can actually suit up every week. So what I don't want to happen is, put somebody in a practice squad and then they get poached and end up on somebody else's team. But one thing I will say in reference to in reference to the roster. Um, I'm extremely confident in what we have going on. I'm so confident that a I'm going to put an amount of U.S. dollars on the
Ooh.
Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl this year.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I think that's where I'm at. I
Okay.
just, I just really feel like we're loaded. We needed another nose tackle. I think now you can really let Daquan Jones and Joey Bosa and these guys, like, you can really utilize a level of load management during the regular season, and then when the playoffs get here, we can just unleash these guys.
Yep. Dars. By the way, you can get 8-1 in some books on that. So for every 100 you bet, you win 800. Will.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Send
We'll
me.
have to find
Can
you a
you
good
link
one.
that to me?
I'm looking at a whole thing of different odds, but yeah, I will certainly send
Okay.
it
All
to you.
right. Yeah. If
And
you
it
could
gives you
send
the
that to me, that'd
different
be perfect.
100%. Yep. And gives you links to where you can do it because you can actually do this in New Jersey, unlike myself in
Okay.
California. I am not able to. So I'll send it to you.
And while we do that, since we're talking about the Bills, let's take care of our Bills.
There you go.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliott Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
And we're back.
Back and better than ever.
All right. So
Okay.
the final piece of news. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. No, you're good. Go for it. What's next on the agenda?
So the final piece of news that we have for today is about Elijah Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now some of y'all know Elijah Moore from his Jets days. Elijah Moore reached a 1-year agreement with the Buffalo Bills today. I knew this was going to happen when we saw. Matter of fact, it was Monday. Monday, all of that stuff went down with being on WGR, and later on that day, actually, like shortly after he got off the radio, there was an announcement that Elijah Moore was in Buffalo. Elijah Moore and his wife were in Buffalo to visit with the team. And I think we were in a space on Monday, and I said, bro, he's signing. He's signing. You don't bring your wife to meet with a team unless you're signing there. Like, what is she
Mm-hmm.
going to do? Like, is she there to check out the weight room and the facilities? No, she's there to talk to a real estate agent and go look at the neighborhoods and check on the schools and say, all right, this is where we want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to get a list of properties and she's going to go back and say, this is what I found. Which one are we going to get? So he's going to be here, and um, come on, guys. Yeah, I know he's 5'9",
Oh.
185, but that is a 4.32 on that rise. Speed and agility grade is elite.
Mm-hmm.
Elite. What was the complaint? What was the complaint? The Bills don't have speed. The Bills don't have a wide receiver that can threaten to take the top off of a defense. Well, now we do. We have a guy who can do that, and he's also a guy that also can he does all right with route running as well. I mean,
Yes.
there's a clip that's been floating around about Elijah Moore just embarrassing former standout undrafted Buffalo Bill. Uh, he really cooked him too. He really, really cooked him. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, here it is. Okay. I hope this don't mess up.
There we go. I actually remember this very play well that you're showing it.
Come on, man. See that route running?
Beautiful.
Now imagine Josh throwing him the football. That's a touchdown. Josh is gonna put that ball over his shoulder. Well, you know what? You hope it's a touchdown because Josh hasn't been great with the deep ball over the last couple of years. So let's be honest about that. But yeah, I'm excited. I liked Elijah Moore when the Jets were talking about trading him. I was hoping that we would be able to get him. Um, Yeah, I was hoping that we would be able to get him. Obviously, we didn't. He went to Cleveland. He had a solid season last year, 61 receptions, a little over 500 yards. And I really, really think that he's the player that can create the space that guys like Kincaid and Coleman need to really go to work underneath. Um, Palmer as well. Palmer Josh Palmer is a dog. Like he's very, very good. As far as like beating press coverage and just kind of finding ways to get open. Let me see if I can find the video of him. Listen, there's a video. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna find it. All right, here we go. Shout out to Cover One. This is their video. Let's go back to the beginning. Oh, now that's a bad throw. That was a bad throw. But that's the type of wow. That's a good route too.
Mm-hmm.
This is he. Listen, against the Chiefs, he gave the Chiefs hell. He really
Yes,
gave.
he did.
That's another bad throw though.
You gotta have him. Yeah.
So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
the option of having that guy, Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore. I think the issues that we had last year, man, with the wide receiver room was no, we did not have a guy who could beat press man coverage. We now do, Josh Palmer. We didn't have a speed element in the wide at the wide receiver spot. We now do, and
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen now? Like, how do you stop this offense now? The offense scored 30 points and per game last year that couldn't separate. The wide receivers couldn't create separation allegedly, and we had no speed. Now you add speed and separate another separator. How do you stop this offense?
Mm-hmm. No, it's
Yeah,
it's.
let's talk about this.
Oh,
Can you imagine if we would have did this? If we would have traded for DK and signed with 30 million?
mm-hmm. And then drafted Pooh Paul at 30. Such a W. Yep.
I remember when people were saying that, man. Parsons Schwarzenegger at 30, yada yada yada. But yeah, man.
I didn't pay any attention to that. You know what? I was thinking about what you said about Tyreek Williams earlier. Do you think that was true, or is that Bean playing 4D chess, trying to get?
No,
You
I
don't think that he would?
100% think.
Now, you know what I mean. Did he try to? Did he want Harrison to fall to him at 30? Is that, or do you think? I guess I would. Tyreek was there. You take Tyreek. What do you do? Is it Trey Amos at that point? Is there another corner that we would have targeted? That would have been an interesting discussion at that point. But I'm glad the way it worked out. But that was a. It's just amazing how often that probably really happens. More than we
Yeah.
realize, right? And that's the thing about the draft too that a lot of fans understand. And you know that a lot of those things change on the fly, and there's a lot of scenarios that these GMs go through. Coach Oliver, we appreciate you as well. We appreciate you coming on. You definitely got me fired up for the season, man. When you went through the depth on our defensive line, man, it's just there's just not a spot where I don't feel confident in our depth, really anywhere, like we said. And even about our receiving core, what if one of our players goes down an injury, right? You know, some of these teams have top number one receivers, but then it kind of falls off really fast. I feel confident we got a few guys that could step up and be what either, if you lack a better term, volume catchers, right? Like Elijah Moore could put in a 9 for a 110 game. We have a few guys like that now. So I'm very confident in where we sit right now. Even if we did lose one of these players to an injury, knock on wood, we don't. But if we do, I still feel confident what we have on the back end.
Worst case scenario, beyond this team, like all my mad players out there, we're gonna give people hell with the Buffalo Bills this year. All right, we are going to make life a living hell for folks. This is what it is. Um, I'm gonna send you something. I'm gonna send you something, brother.
Okay.
Not right now, but definitely
Later on? Awesome. Awesome. I want to check that out.
I'm not sure which way I'm gonna go. I might just get both. I'll send it to you though,
Okay.
so you can get in on this.
Nice.
We're gonna show a lot of love. We're gonna show a lot of love to our rookies this year. I'm excited about them. And coach, like, and beyond, like you were saying, coach, he shared his thoughts on the draft and what this team needs. And while he got you fired up, he basically confirmed what I think, and that is that the Buffalo Bills are gonna win the Super Bowl this year.
Mm.
They're gonna get to the Super Bowl and they're gonna win it. So that's just where I'm at, man.
Hey,
I
listen,
believe that that's what's going to happen.
Brandon Bean has put in the toolbox what these coaches need, right? And if I remember, Dog said it earlier, right? And just this comment here, looking at the coaching staff, right? We drafted it. It's time to develop them and get the dog out of these players. It's time to execute, right? There's no Bobby Bavich has everything he needs right now, right? I really don't believe that either side of the ball, Joe Brady, Josh Allen, they have the tools in the toolbox to succeed now. So
Yeah,
there's
that
no
was something
more.
that I'm sorry, but that was something that Coach. Yeah, we're not putting that out there, RJ. I'm sorry.
We'll just say, maybe Ranch should be a better call there. I'll just leave it with that. Just to settle that
All right,
scene.
okay, all right, man. But yeah, so and this is my last point. Before we'll get your closing thoughts.
Sure.
With the defensive line and all of the pieces that we have on all of the guys that we have on the defensive line, it gives the Buffalo Bills the opportunity to really run a lot of multiple fronts. Like you could see 3 down linemen with 3 linebackers. And when I say linebackers, I mean like 2 linebackers in the defensive end. You could see, 5-man front with, you could see a 5-man front with from left to right or right to left to Rousseau, TJ, Daquan Jones, Deion Walker, Landon Jackson, or take out Daquan and throw in Deion Walker, and then you add to the you know to the 3 tech position or the odd front defensive end position. You could take Landon off the field and put in Javon Solomon and have him rush from a 2-point stance. You can take AJ and put him on the field instead of Rousseau. There's so many combinations that we can throw at teams, and there's really how do you win consistently against this defense, against this scheme? And finally, I believe that we have the athletes in the secondary to be able to cover and make sure that the guys up front have ample time to get home. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a great season. Mark, I'm going to DM you something as well. I'm gonna DM you and Beyond something. I want to get as many people as I can on this. We're gonna show up and show out for our young guys. But you got any closing thoughts? Because I'm gonna put one more thing out.
Absolutely.
The
No,
Bills need to be strong.
just the Bills made a strong playoff run. Super Bowl single score since then they have not regressed. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think we're gonna have a lot of time to sum up our off season and as we move into the schedule, we get to the parts of the off season, but I think it's never perfect, right? And I think some fans out there they get real. We have draft crushes, right? Fall quote lack of a better term, fall in love with. You have a draft crush on players that you get set on, right? And the thing with the drafts is, I think a lot of fans they look at the first couple rounds and like terrible draft, not what I wanted, right? And this is where I put you into the mix, Whittle, because I give you credit for this, right? Some of our picks early, we weren't sure, right? But then when you piece it together, when they picked Deion Walker and they made their late picks, right? Then you look at the totality of what they're doing. It makes more sense, right? It to me it puts it all together. So sometimes we got to be, some fans just got to be slow to react or not just be so tied to one prospects or one. It's got to be wide receiver. It's got to be wide receiver, right? No, it doesn't. And look what we did this week. We just signed Elijah Moore. So for all those that wanted, you name me how many receivers realistically, I'm not talking about taking one in the first round, right? Third, fourth round would have an impact that Elijah Moore can have on our team right now. This year, 2025, 1 year, right? We're going to win it now, right? I mean, we could have taken a guy third, fourth round, but what if he has a minimal impact, right? And I have a chance to get a Deion Walker. I'm going to take Deion Walker every time, twice on Sunday. I'm not even going to hesitate. So what Bean has done, what this whole organization has done, his job is to put you in position to win it, right? And he, to me, has done his job. I give him solid A for the draft. Is not A pluses are hard to earn. It has to be absolutely flawless, right? I mean, but overall, I think this whole offseason, everything they've done, you can see players that really want to be here. It shows up with guys like Elijah Moore. He could have went other places, I'm sure. He could have probably made a little more money, but he chose the Buffalo Bills, and I think that speaks volumes to where this team is right now. So that's where I'm at right now. So The floor is yours, my friend.
That's it, man. I was gonna next month, actually what we May. No, not May. I think it's in June.
Mm-hmm.
There's a charity event in Buffalo. There's a
Mm,
bocce ball tournament. Um, I'm going to be going to that. I will get more information on it,
nice.
and obviously put it out to the rest of you guys. But I don't really have anything else, man. All I gotta say
Oh,
is do good, be good, God bless, and go Bills.
go. There you go. That's what I like to hear. Again, thanks for everyone. Again, thanks to Coach Oliver. It was a great spot. Thanks to Mark from Buffalo. RJ, just lay off the blue cheese. And yeah, good to see
Shout out
you.
to
What
this
about
rookie
you?
class. Welcome Elijah. Welcome
Yeah,
Elijah
welcome,
Moore.
Elijah. Yep, absolutely. Always good to see Dog and everybody else in here that comes into do Neffy as well, Galactic, everybody. So thank you as always. And signing off. Go Bills, everyone.